Hello friends, today I have a video specifically for the women watching this, and for every man watching, who has a wife, a mother, a sister, or a friend who receives Social Security, because there are several rules in the Social Security system that apply specifically to women, and several recent changes that directly benefit women more than almost any other group. Some of these rules most women have never been told about. Some are brand new. One of them was introduced in Congress just 3 days ago, and some are corrections to decades-old injustices that are still being paid out right now. Today I am going through all of them. Before we get into it, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on the bell and share this video with every woman you know who receives Social Security or who is approaching retirement. The rules I am covering today are the ones SSA will not explain to you unless you ask. Subscribe now and let's get into it. Let me start with the most recent development announced just 3 days ago on July 20th, 2026. A bipartisan bill called the SWIFT Act, Surviving Widow Income Fair Treatment Act, was introduced in Congress this week. The bill proposes to expand Social Security survivor benefits for widows and widowers who are caring for children. Under current law, a surviving spouse can receive what is called a mother's or father's benefit while caring for a child of the deceased worker who is under 16 or disabled. The SWIFT Act proposes to extend that benefit until the youngest child turns 19, as long as the child is still enrolled in school. This matters specifically for younger surviving spouses, women who lost a husband while their children were still in their teens, and who currently see their mother's benefit cut off before their children have completed high school. The bill has just been introduced and has not passed, but it is bipartisan. It has momentum, and it represents exactly the kind of update to survivor benefits that advocacy groups have been pushing for. Watch for developments on this legislation in the coming months. Now let me cover the change that has already happened and that is still sending money to women who have not yet received their share. The Social Security Fairness Act signed into law in January 2025 eliminated 2 rules called We and Go that had for decades reduced or completely eliminated Social Security benefits for people who also received a government pension. The government pension offset in particular had a devastating effect on women. Here's why. Millions of women, teachers, nurses in public hospitals, county government employees, school administrators, spent their careers in jobs that paid into a separate state or local pension system rather than Social Security. When their husbands died, these women expected to receive survivor benefits based on their husband's Social Security record. Instead, the government pension offset reduced their survivor benefit by 2/3 of their government pension amount, which in many cases eliminated the survivor benefit entirely. A woman receiving a $1,500 teacher's pension had $1,000 subtracted from any Social Security survivor benefit. If her survivor benefit was $900, she received nothing. That rule is gone. Since January 2025, women who were affected by the government pension offset are now receiving their full survivor benefits and are receiving retroactive payments covering the period since January 2024. The average retroactive lump sum has been approximately $6,710. The average permanent monthly increase has been approximately $360. But as of July 2026, spousal and survivor cases from the GO elimination are still being processed. If you spent your career in a government job and your husband passed away, and your survivor benefit has not increased since January 2025, call SSA at 1-8077-21213 and ask specifically, has my account been updated under the Social Security Fairness Act? And is any retroactive payment still pending on my record? The correction may be sitting in a queue, waiting for you to ask about it. The second rule that benefits women specifically is one of the most valuable and least understood strategies in the entire Social Security system, and SSA will almost never explain it unless you ask. If your husband passes away, you are entitled to receive survivor benefits on his Social Security record. Most widows know this at a basic level. What most widows do not know is that survivor benefits can begin as early as age 60, and that you can collect them while leaving your own retirement benefit completely untouched and growing. Here is how the strategy works. You are a widow at 62. Your late husband's Social Security benefit was $2,400 per month. You could start receiving survivor benefits now. At 62, you would receive approximately $1,716 per month, which is 71.5% of his benefit because you claimed early. Alternatively, you could wait until your survivor full retirement age, which for most widows is 66 to 67, depending on when you were born, and receive the full $2,400. But here is the option most widows are never told about. You can begin collecting your survivor benefit now at whatever reduced amount corresponds to your current age, while leaving your own personal retirement benefit completely alone. Your own benefit continues to grow at 8% per year. At 70, you compare the two amounts. If your own benefit has grown larger than the survivor benefit, you switch to your own. If the survivor benefit is larger, you stay on it. Either way, you received income throughout your 60s from the survivor benefit, while preserving the ability to maximize one of the two options at 70. The reverse works as well. Some women have their own strong earnings record and a smaller survivor benefit. They can file for their own reduced retirement benefit early, receive income in their 60s, and then switch to the full survivor benefit at their survivor FRA when it reaches its maximum. The key is that these two benefits, your own retirement benefit and your survivor benefit, can be used strategically in sequence rather than treated as a forced choice between two options at one moment in time. SSA will not suggest this approach when you call. They will process whatever you ask for. The way to access this strategy is to call SSA at 1-807-721-213 and say, I want to understand my options for collecting survivor benefits while deferring my own retirement benefit, and I want to compare both strategies before making any decision. That sentence signals that you know what to ask for. The third issue affects the majority of women who spent any portion of their working years outside the paid workforce, caring for children, caring for aging parents, or not working during their marriage. Social Security calculates your benefit using your 35 highest earning years. If you worked fewer than 35 years, which describes most women who took time away for family responsibilities, SSA pads your calculation with ZIA for the missing years. Every 0 year pulls your monthly benefit down permanently. Research from the Urban Institute found that women on average have 12 years of zero or very low earnings compared to 6 years for men. That gap is a direct result of caregiving, and it translates into a permanent monthly income difference over a full retirement. Two things you can do now. First, if you are still working, every additional year of earnings above your current lowest year in your top 35 permanently raises your benefit. Even part-time work can make a meaningful difference. Second, verify at ssa.gov that every year you did work is recorded accurately. A missing year of legitimate earnings reduces your benefit exactly the same as a 0 year. The fourth rule is specifically for divorced women, and it is one that a significant number of women are eligible for and have never claimed. If you were married for at least 10 years and have since divorced, you may be entitled to receive Social Security benefits based on your ex-husband's earnings record, as much as 50% of his benefit at his full retirement age. This applies even if he has remarried. It applies even if he does not know you are collecting on his record. It does not reduce his benefit in any way. And you can collect this divorced spousal benefit even if you are currently receiving your own smaller retirement benefit, in which case SSA pays you the higher of the two amounts. The requirements: you must be at least 62 years old. You must have been married for at least 10 years. You must currently be unmarried unless you divorced again after age 60, which I will address in a moment. And your ex-husband must be at least 62 and eligible for Social Security, though he does not need to have actually filed for benefits yet. If you have been divorced for at least 2 years, you can claim on his record, even if he has not yet filed. The action step: if you are married for 10 or more years, call SSA at 1-807-721-213 and ask, I want to know if I qualify for divorced spouse benefits on my ex-husband's record and how that compares to my own benefit. SSA will pull both records and calculate the comparison for you. Many women who make this call discover a benefit they were entitled to for years and never knew existed. The fifth rule catches widows by surprise because the conventional wisdom about it is wrong, and getting it wrong can be costly. Most people believe that if you are widowed and remarry, you lose your survivor benefit permanently. This causes some widows to avoid remarriage out of fear of losing income. The actual rule is more favourable. If you remarry after age 60, you keep your survivor benefit from your first husband. The rule only cuts off survivor benefits for widows who remarry before 60. A widow who remarries at 61, 65 or 75 retains full access to her first husband's survivor benefit. And if the new marriage ends, whether through divorce or the death of the new spouse, you can also claim survivor or divorced spouse benefits on that second husband's record if it produces a higher amount. If you are considering remarriage and are currently receiving survivor benefits, call SSA before filing the marriage license and confirm your exact situation. If you are 60 or older, the rule does not affect you, but confirm directly with SSA rather than relying on general information. So, here is the complete picture for women. The SWIFT Act, introduced July 20th, proposes to extend survivor benefits for widows caring for school-aged children until the child turns 19, a bill worth watching as it moves through Congress. If you were affected by the government pension offset because you worked in a government job and your husband passed away, call SSA now and verify your correction under the Social Security Fairness Act has been fully processed. Retroactive payments are still being distributed. If you are widowed, you can begin collecting survivor benefits as early as 60, while leaving your own retirement benefit growing. Call SSA and ask to compare both strategies before filing anything. If you have years of zero earnings from caregiving, verify that every year you did work is correctly recorded at ssa.gov and consider whether additional working years could meaningfully raise your benefit before you claim. If you were married for 10 or more years and have divorced, call SSA and ask about divorced spouse benefits. You may be entitled to up to 50% of your ex-husband's benefit. And if you are a widow considering remarriage, know that remarrying after 60 does not cost you your survivor benefit. Share this video with every woman you know who receives Social Security or who is approaching retirement. These are rules the SSA will not bring up unless you ask, and every one of them is worth asking about.